Bet. What's today? Thursday?
Thursday.
This might be our first live Thursday, man. One half of the Man to Man pod, Darius Butler. Got my co-host, Antoine Bethea.
What it do?
We got a very, very special guest, man. My former teammate, big bro, OG, man, DeQuell Jackson in the building. What up, BQ?
I'm living, bro. How about y'all?
Same.
You already know, slow motion, baby.
Maintaining, man. How you living out there in DC?
Man, DC is good right now, but it was a little scary a few months ago. I'm not gonna lie, man. But it's good. Family's good. You know, 2020 has been I know we're in 2021, but 2020 was hectic for a lot of folks, man. A lot of new adjustments and all that, and spending a lot of time at the house with the family, trying to figure out what's next. But things are good. Things are good. I can't complain.
Nah, you can't complain because I know Ken, your son, he ain't school age yet.
Nah, so, we'll get there. We'll get there. So it's funny. He's got one of those late birthdays, so we got to start him in pre-K2 and all that. And the schools where we live, I mean, we got a school up the street, a block up the street, one of the best private or best public schools in DC. But for us. And for my wife, she went to Howard. Family went to Howard. Oh yeah. It's loud and proud in this household. For us, it's important that Black experience, Black education is a part of his education. So we're looking at some private schools, and we're not private school people, but I think it'll be best for him. There's more diversity, if you can believe it, here in DC.
I was about to say, I got diverse private schools out there.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The thing is, what I'm learning is with the private schools here, they highlight what they're going to be emphasizing at the school. For instance, Sidwell, Sidwell is where the Obamas went to school, and a lot of government officials send their kids. It's one of the best private schools here in DC, but there they teach about every ethnicity, every culture, and they dive into it. And it's an open forum. They include the parents. So that's something that we love. Yeah, we may have to pay for it. We don't know if that's going to be the route, but it's a new life for us to actually have those conversations about school and all that good stuff. Because King is our first child. So
yeah, that's all. I think that's always a conversation, especially when you have children. Because I'm pretty sure 90% of the people, 95% of the people that we know went to public schools. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So now when you're in a position where, you can afford to give your child that privilege of going to a private school, that's definitely a discussion that, we have we went to a public school, we came out fine. We was able to excel, you know what I mean?
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing. So we're both public school people. We worked hard to get to where we are, and we have to do a little bit more parenting because he's going to grow up a privileged little Black kid, right? And how do I implement, how does he know, okay, it's always going to be a challenge, right? But with our family and my family, listen, the Black experience, the Black education is going to be there. We read to them every night. There's Black faces on these books, and we're doing everything intentionally that we can so he understands who we are and be proud for who he is and his culture and what our past have been and where we're headed in the future. So it's very important.
Nah, absolutely. And also let them know it's important to know ain't nothing wrong with being a privileged Black kid. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, go in a different situation and kind of look down upon in some different place. Like, oh, you're a little bougie, you talk a little different, you act a little different. So definitely a balance. As a parent, raising kids in situations and circumstances that you didn't grow up in. So but shout out to that, man. That's obviously bigger than anything else we'll do. But what you been up to, I guess, since football? Obviously, football is part of your life, but since football been done, I know we all, finding our way. So what you been up to? I know I saw you on TV doing some things. I saw you doing some business things. So what you got going on?
So right now, I mean, again, 2020 was like a wash, in a lot of aspects. But, when I was done, my last season was 2016. 2017, I get married, have my son 2018, and then I traveled that year, but then it really hit me. It's like 2019 came around. I was like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I think a lot of guys who making that transition, you struggle with, you know, because you've been the best at what you've been doing forever. You love doing what you've been doing, and you wanted to work hard to continue to do it. And now that's all taken away. So for me, it was, okay, I looked at it as now I have the opportunity to dive into all the things that I couldn't because of my schedule playing the National Football League. So as you alluded to, I did an internship with a guy named Rashawn Williams in Boston, met with VC companies just to, you know, you always hear this rhetoric about how former athletes can add value to these companies and so forth. And I learned a ton there. I worked locally here for NBC Sports Washington, covering the Skins. That was cool.
Hold on, I don't want to cut you. I want to pause you there though, because I think you just said something. You said something big there. You talked about the value that athletes bring to companies. You know, on the other side, what obviously, you know, you've been in the trenches. You team captain. You know, middle linebacker. You know, always kind of been in that leadership role. What are some, you know, transferable skills, you know, for the players that's listening now that may still be playing, that may be done, and like you said, trying to find their way? What's the transferable skills from like that football field, in that locker room, been in that meet room, all that stuff, and now being on the business side?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think communication. I think we all know, playing the position that I played and your position, we always communicate. Being a great communicator is one. Because as you alluded to, we've both been captains on our teams. We've had to communicate and made the most intelligent decision like that, you know. And I think just overall, for us to make it to the elite level, it takes an enormous amount of sacrifice, commitment, and dedication. And I think that's the value that some of these top VC firms and companies look at former athletes, especially someone who had a career, if you will. And I think that's the number one thing I took away from it. Obviously, you learn a lot of other aspects of business and what have you, but the number one driving force for me that was eye-opening was the fact that they recognized the hard work that was put in to get to that point. This wasn't something that was done over a 2 or 3 or 4 year span. This was something that you built from, you know, youth or high school and college and so forth. So I think that was the biggest takeaway. For me, that was eye-opening, that I was like, okay, I can actually work in this bit. There's value for me here because, you know, as well as I do, man. Being a former athlete, as good as it is to have that title, when you're done playing, when you don't have that title and you're trying to position yourself and you know, whether it be through a career or whatever the case, people kind of look at you funny, like you want to take the easiest route, but it's not the case. I think that was the most eye-opening experience for me.
Question. Another question for you. I know we talk about on the show a lot of times where we feel as though, you know what I mean, we wish we would have done it earlier. You know what I mean? Wish we would have done it, you know what I mean, early in our career. We just try to get the young guys that, look, if you can do it while you in the league, and you just kind of mentioned it just now as far as it rings a little different. You know what I mean? Player versus a lot different. Retired player. You know what I mean? Just rings different. For you, what were some of the things, like, you know, when you were playing, even though we know you got to put 100% into your craft, what were some of the things you tapped into, or do you wish that you would have tapped into while you were playing?
Yeah, I wish I would have tapped into this from the minute I stepped into the league, because I was the type of guy, I was a one-trick pony. D-Butter tell you, I was only, when the football season was around, only focused on football, bro. And when the season was over, I was so regimented, I would travel for a month, and I was right back here in DC training with Myron Flowers. Like, I wouldn't deviate from that. If there was an opportunity to go intern someplace, I wouldn't do it, because I guess in my mind, I knew what I was good at. This was my nest egg. And there was nothing wrong with that. But in hindsight, looking back, I wish I would have started a lot earlier, man, because now you have that NFL tag on your back. And now you're doors that normally you can't open when you're 4 or 5 years out of the league if you haven't been connected. So what I would encourage any young player that's in the league, sports-wise, whether it be football, NBA, or whatever the case, tap into those circles right now, because when you're done, it makes it a lot easier to transition into that business life, because you've already been with those people, and it's not like starting from scratch. You know, the finish line is, listen, we're going to be in the workforce for another 30 some odd years, you know, and be a shame for you not to take advantage of those relationships now while you have the chance to, when everyone sees your face and everyone knows who you are when you step on that field or court or whatever sport you're playing. That's a great question.
For sure. And you can start at a higher point. You know what I mean? You're not learning it from ground zero once you are done. But you know, but like you said, though, it's definitely always a balance though, because I don't think everybody can do that. You know what I mean? I don't think everybody can do the everybody can't do the football and the business, you know. But at what point in your career, you played how many? You played 12?
11.
11. Okay, you played 11 years. So at what point in your 11-year career did you feel like you could have, okay, I got this football thing. I know the training thing. You know, every offseason is different if you're dealing with injuries and stuff like that. Obviously, you was in the trenches. So at what point did you feel like, all right, you know, maybe after year 4 or 5, or you signed that second deal, all right, now I can start doing, if you could go back, what would be that year you say, okay, I could have got into this at that point?
Right.
If
so for me, it was year 8 when I realized, like, okay, I need to start, like, you know, prepping those relationships so when I'm done, so I won't just start from scratch. But I wish I would have started. I mean, it should have started a long time ago. And I was being pushed. Like, I had a great agency. They would push me all the time. Hey, what are you into? Let's try this. You know, not this year, this next year. But in the back of my mind, I was afraid. I'll be honest. I was afraid to do anything that wasn't what I was really good at. And that was
you got your financial advisor telling you, hey, man, you good. You got this over here. You know,
you know, it's like you talk, it's a balance, man. It's like, okay, you got this. You prepared yourself to make, you know, if you make X amount of dollars, then you can live the rest of your life comfortably. And once you get to that point, it's like, okay, you still want to push yourself, right? And it's funny. So when I moved into this new house I'm in, right? I moved in about 3 years ago. One of my neighbors, you know, nosy guy, right? I was doing some stuff outside, and he asked me, he was like, yeah, we started talking a little bit. Didn't you play in the National Football? I'm like, yeah, I did. He was like, and we started talking about like work stuff. And he's in commercial real estate or what have you. And I was like, you know, he flat out asked me, bold as hell to ask me. He was like, do you have to work? I was like, what? I was like, let me tell you something. I was like, you can't just turn that switch off. When you've worked and sacrificed so hard to get to this elite level, it's hard to shut that overachieving attitude off. You know what I mean? So
you got competitive. You still got the competitive juices.
You know, it's hard to turn that off. So I was like, listen, it doesn't matter how much I can have. I'll say Bill Gates still works. All these guys, I'm nowhere near his level. So I was like, listen, I appreciate your honesty, but yes, for a guy like myself, yes, I still need to get out there in the workforce and feel good about something I'm doing. Let's face it, because talk about it. I got a son right now, but you know, hopefully we have more children, which I'm confident we will. But I don't want my kids walking downstairs and asking me, "Hey, Dad, what do you want to be when you grow up?" You know what I mean? Like, because they see me at home all the time. You know what I mean? That to me is that's unacceptable. To come from where I come from and to make it to where I've made it and to provide for my family the way I'm able to provide through blessings and hard work and all that good stuff. I need to pass that on, that same work ethic to my kids. And I can't do that sitting at home. You know, that's
real. That's real. It's funny. I was having this conversation with my boys this past weekend and just talking about legacy, man, and just leaving that legacy and just the little things that we do, you know. Having children, they watch our every move. You know what I mean? So to be able to take your kid to work day, that's some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Where these kids can see, like, yo, this is what my mom and dad do for a living. You know what I mean? Like, yo, now it opens their eyes to be like, man, I can do this, I can do that. So again, like you said, man, for us to be in that position and play that role, play that provider role. That's some strength. That's a lot of shit that goes along with that.
And I think the lessons that are taught within that too, because I know with my kids, and this was something that even my mom instilled at a young age, just how being able to be an entrepreneur and to start your own stuff or to be in that producer type role and not the consumer role, or not just trying to, get by or whatever that is, but being in a position where you can, okay, look, this is how you can create jobs for other people. This is how you can give back. This is how you can do this. And maybe you may not have to get up and work 10 hours a day, but they see that grind. They're gonna watch everything you do. They're not gonna listen to half of what you say. Just let you know now. He probably listen to what you said now. The older they get, they listen less and less, but they watch more and more. So that joint is important. But I want to ask you that same question, AB, because I know obviously you're a businessman. You got some things going on, already had things going on. Yeah. When you were still playing, like at what point did that switch for you? That you saw yourself, more than a football player and as a businessman?
Man, I would say around like 7 or 8. I think when I got the first transition for me was when I got the second deal, and I started my foundation. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my first thing where I was like, okay, something outside of football, something I could bring to the community and help people. The only regret that I had that I also jumped into was started a little record label, and that's the only. We talked about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I took that at the time. I took it as an L, but now I'm looking back on it. It was definitely a lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to, before I start whatever I'm doing, going down, doing my due diligence and researching. So so now, I'm able to, read contracts. Don't necessarily have to give it to somebody and say, hey, look, tell me what this says. You know what I mean? So now I can sit down, I can read over, I can understand the language in these contracts and just, have that dialogue with whoever it is that I'm talking to, man. So obviously, I think at one point, I was a little nervous too. Like, I could sit down and talk football with anybody. You know what I mean? I can sit down and talk football with anybody, but at times, when it came to business, I was a little hesitant. You know what I mean? I was hesitant. Even in my mind, I'm like, I know what I'm talking about because some things is common sense. You know what I mean? But it was just like, I just don't want to come off sounding like I'm crazy. But now I just feel the more that I've done it, I'm confident. I can speak. I can speak, the language. I can speak the language, basically.
That's really all it is. Yeah. That's really all it is that's what's up. That's what's up. So learning that, and I think that holds a lot of us back too, because we are in that position where you world-class athletes. You've done something at such a high level for so long. From the high school, college, and you've been in this position. So now, when you're in a position, you got to ask questions, and you may not want to look stupid. It may be a pride thing. It might be something like, I know a lot of us, like, I had no idea how money really worked. You know what I mean? Like, coming in, like, you can get the millions. It's easy to make money if you're good at something, but keeping it and actually growing it, like, that's a whole nother language. You know what I mean? So being able to, humble yourself in the sense to ask those questions and learn, I think is important. Like you said, I know you're able to read contracts and stuff like that, but I know also you still got a lawyer that goes over that, and even the importance of having a lawyer. I know DQ, I know your wife is a lawyer, and the importance of having a lawyer in that specific field. A lot of us don't understand how important that is, because I had a lawyer tell me, hey, you either gonna pay us on the front end, you gonna pay us on the back end when you're trying to fix shit on the back end. So better all pay them on the front end.
It's funny, you made me think about a point, probably about, this was after I signed my second deal in Cleveland. I was she wasn't my wife at the time, but she was my girlfriend at the time. And we went to we went to Turks and Caicos for a wedding. Her best friend was getting married. And during that weekend, her father had set up a round of golf, and so I was paired with him. And I knew a little bit about him, but not enough. And we started hitting the golf club, and you know how it is. If you ever been golfing, that's when you try to solve the world's problems, right? So this guy's just grilling, black dude, right? He's grilling me about financial stuff, and I'm like, I couldn't answer half of these questions. Yeah, and he was like, you know what? And I was honest with him. I felt comfortable enough to be honest with him. He's like, you know what?
That golf course do to you.
Yeah, I got some people I want you to meet when you get back to DC. And come to find out, this friend's father was, he makes us look like, let's put it like this. He's been uber successful in the tech world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted me to have a meeting with his money managers, the people that took care of his money. And we had a meeting, and luckily for me, they brought me on as a client, and I'm the only athlete they represent. And I mean, listen, from the time before them and the time after them, it's been two different DeQuills, bro. Like before, I had no idea. I was just making money. I didn't know how money worked. I didn't know how to save it, how to position it, how to do any of that stuff. I had no financial literacy whatsoever. Getting with this company, they've taught me so much about how money works and how to stay, just involved. And it's been probably one of the bigger blessings in my life, man. After the fact that not only do we make the money, we hold on to it and have that money make money for us. So it was a blessing in disguise. And again, he's my mentor to this day. I took him out to dinner last weekend. So he's a guy that's really dear to my heart. And, he was paying it forward. He's an Alabama guy. His daughter went to Spelman. So they're all about keeping this thing strong, man.
Yeah. And then another thing we talk about, having good people in your corner. You know what I'm saying? Having good people behind you. You know what I mean? That's very important, because as we all know, we it's vultures out here. They see a young brother that got a lot of money, like you said, not that tuned in onto like the financial literacy aspect, and take advantage of them. So being able to have good people in your corner and actually want to see you do well, man, that helps. That helps a lot, man. So salute to that brother. Just even like you said, paying it forward to you.
Yeah, that kind of. We had Mikey Taylor on here, big time skater, and he talked about old head who was in his corner and taught him the game early about money. And he was a big, he had his own shoes and boards and stuff like that. But now what's his name? Commune Capital. Yeah, he's doing his thing. So so important, man. But I mean, in simplest terms, if it's any young men, young ladies watching this, just some advice that I give you. I know the OGs probably got something too, but I would say more important to understand how to invest your money than even to save it. Because growing up, I know all I heard was, be debt free. Save your money. And when you're around and you're making a certain amount of money, that's probably is the best thing to do. But when you are giving lump sums of money early in your life, the best thing to do is make wise investments and then let time do its thing with that. That's what I would tell my younger self coming into money. So that's what I tell young guys, just learn how to invest it. And it ain't rocket science. You don't got to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to invest in somebody's new great idea. Invest in something that's been working for 10, 20, 50 years and let it keep working. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that'd be my 2 cents. But unless y'all got anything else on that, we can jump to this football stuff and your story, man. Get the backdrop.
I'll just say one thing, man. Ask questions.
You have to.
Ask questions, man. I think that's one of the biggest things. And it's crazy. I didn't even take my own advice. So when I used to be in the meeting room and I was a 6th, 7th year vet, right? And I would tell the young guys, ask questions, man. If you got questions, ask questions. Right. But when I would get out of the building and I would be in these different rooms, I wouldn't ask questions. You know what I'm saying? I would be that rookie. I'll be that rookie. I'll be taking notes, but I'll be like, damn, I should ask this. But then if I ask, they're gonna be like, man, damn fool over here.
Yeah.
But I would say that would be the one thing I would say, man. Just regardless of whatever room you in, regardless of how uncomfortable you feel, ask those questions, man. Ask those questions.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, man. Having that good support system. You got to have a good support system that makes sure you have a good checks and balances. Not the people that's going to tell you what you want to hear, but the people that tell you what you need to hear. Yeah. It's not all good. And those are the people that are going to keep you straight and narrow and going to help you make the right decisions when those decisions come up.
That's what's up. All right, so let's get into DQ's story, DeQuell, man. First of all, your background, where you from? How did you find obviously football gave you a lot of things, but how did you find football?
I was a badass kid. That's how I found it. I was a rambunctious kid, breaking everything. I was high energy, and my mom was like, she couldn't contain me. So my uncle stepped in, like, now let's put his ass in football. He was a military guy, and from the first moment, I was probably 6 years old. From the first moment he introduced me to it, I knew that was my love, man. I knew this is what I wanted to do. I was able to do what I wanted to. So for me, it was, I get to run into people. I always played linebacker. I played linebacker and I played quarterback. So for me, it was.
You said linebacker and what?
And quarterback, bro.
Oh, shit.
Don't get it twisted, bro. Don't get it twisted, bro. Don't get it twisted. Bro, so yeah, man. So I played all through Little League from the age of 7 up until right before high school. I was linebacker, I was quarterback. So, but for me, man, it was, I loved it. I was that kid that before game day, I would lay out all my game day uniform, lay it out, try it on 6 or 7 times. And I loved it, bro. I just absolutely loved it. But I'm from a small town in Florida, Largo, Florida. It's north of where you are, D. But the way of life, man. It was. We used to play before the school bus picked us up in the morning. I got on my school clothes and school shoes, and we would be sweating before we get on the bus. Kill a carrot. You know what I mean? On concrete, on pavement. You know what I mean? So that was the environment I grew up in. Everyone from my uncles to their family, all the men played football. So it was only right that I stepped into it. But it's funny, you don't know how good you are. You always had people telling you, oh, you can do this, you can do that. You stay focused. And for me, it was easy. It was easy for me, man, just to go out there and stay committed to it. But it was a journey, though. I can tell you that. It was a journey, man. Getting to high school, I went to a predominantly all white school, which is fine. I met a lot of great people there, but it was challenging, to the point you made earlier, AB, about not asking questions. And I was real shy as a kid. I was very reserved, didn't want to talk too much because I was afraid people may not understand me. And
you were shy, but I'm assuming popular because you were.
Yeah, so that was the confusing part. On the field, everyone knew who I was. But then outside of the field, I was this reserved little shell of myself, man. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that up until I got to college, man. And that's when it really hit home. Some of my good buddies now, Dominique Foxworth, I never forget the first time I met him, I hated this dude. I'm like, man, I can't stand this dude, man. Because no one could understand my Florida accent. Going to Maryland and DC. It was like, man, what are you talking about? We don't talk like that. I felt like an outsider, man. But you know what? It was a blessing and a curse in the same breath, man. I loved it. Loved my experience there. Had a great experiences on and off the field. It taught me a lot about leaving this small little pocket in Florida where everyone did the same thing. Everyone, you didn't step outside of what these people in Largo did. And for me to go to Maryland and go to this big metropolitan area and go to Howard and see the Black pride and love and just all the Black people doing well in this environment, I knew right there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to raise a family here, bro. I'm never leaving this place. Because it pushed you. And in so many ways, it forced you to be better than who you were, man. But I know I'm getting off topic here. You asked me about
No, you're good.
That was a part of my maturation as a young man. I'm glad I left Florida because I had an opportunity to go to the University of Florida to play, but it was like a 5th-year high school for me, man. It was like all my college, high school folks went there.
That was the closest big school?
Yeah, so it was divided, right? It was Florida State and University of Florida. And all the top academic folks at my high school, they went to University of Florida. And I wanted to go to Florida State. And they never offered me. And I was pissed about it. And, I had a decent amount of offers, but the only place I wanted to go, bro, was Florida State, man, because the legacy of Derrick Brooks and the winning and Deion Sanders and all that. So that's where
were you a big time recruit? Like what kind of? Because I was 2-star. I was AB kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, no star.
No, so what was like your recruit?
Barely Howard days. Scrimmage.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna give it that.
I was like three star, like, bro. Okay. You know, like I had enough attention, but it wasn't enough for me to validate. Like I felt like I fell short because Florida State didn't offer me. You know what I mean? For a reason. But I used it as fuel, man. I got to Maryland. You know, had a great time there, playing some good ball, and I realized in the off season. So this is when it really got written. The off season, we would have 7-on-7. Yeah, I'm about to bring it up, AB.
Yeah.
Other schools, and Howard was one of those schools that anytime, like I think towards I remember y'all coming to us the first time. If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And I remember D-Butt. If you can envision this, bro. This was like a tournament between two schools, but bro, like it was intense. I had no idea. My freshman year, I'm like, all right, we're Maryland. We're supposed to be okay. This is how we're supposed to win. We're supposed to get after these. Nah, bro. Nah, these
going at it.
All these dudes can play. You hear me? And a lot of the guys on Maryland squad knew about the guys that played at Howard. Either they were from the same area, went to high school together. Like it was, bro. This was the most intense 7-on-7 I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. So you got
wait. So wait. What year did y'all come out of? Did y'all come out of high school the same year?
Yeah.
I came out 2000. Yeah, 2002.
2002. Yeah.
Okay, so y'all both same high school class. Okay, so y'all both there. Yeah, I got to hear about this, man. I didn't get that.
It was crazy because our strength and conditioning coaches would set them up because I think it was like it was us, it was Maryland, it was Townsend. I think Bowie. And I know we played Georgetown one year too when they finally got a team. But for us, I think it was more so on the fact that we about to go up here. The Maryland is right up the road. But we about to show these cats like if it wasn't for the O line and D line, we could rock with y'all boys. You know what I'm saying? And how DQ was saying, he was like, no, there's a lot of people that already knew of people, you know what I'm saying, that played against each other in high school. So our whole mentality was, we about to get in these cars, we're gonna go up there and we're gonna try to bust their ass. And that's what it was.
They used to bust our ass, we used to bust it, but bro, all I remember is like our strength coach and our coach like, listen, we don't want no BS out there, right? And nobody. I just remember it would get to the point where you about to fight, bro.
Yeah, like
it was that intense. It was that intense. If somebody go up for, our receiver go up for a pass, somebody might undercut them or do something. Like it was serious, but them boys could play, man. They could all play, all of them, and it was serious, bro. That's what I remember, bro. That was some of the best moments.
Yeah, no question.
As far as like. Competition, and because what your guys on your team could do. But it was another story when them boys from DC came in town. Like you had to come correct. And just so you know, AB, we talked about it. Like we used to get up for that. Like Bowie was cool, but now Howard was like, we gotta come correct, man. We make sure take care of all your soft tissue injuries throughout the season. So when we get ready to scrimmage, we on point.
Another thing that was so dope about it, I think when we came up there, or when y'all came, we implemented O-line and D-line. So, they had they was flipping the tires and you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was before we did the 7-on-7. So just to be able to see the big boys go at it, you know what I mean? And then obviously once we got on there, we laced it up. It was, you had Vernon over there, you had Fonz, you know what I'm saying? So it was you had some guys over there in DQ. So man, that's one of the things like me and my guys, we talk about it to this day. It was like, damn, like them 7-on-7s, man. Like it was a beautiful thing.
I used to love going to Howard because they would always. So this is the crazy thing about my 4 years in Maryland. They would always schedule an away game during Howard homecoming. So I never experienced a Howard homecoming while I was there.
That's gross.
Every time you got the schedule, everybody looking like, okay, when Howard homecoming, we got to wait. Somehow, some way, so when we would go up there for the off season and scrimmage, like that was the first time I was going in DC. Like But I don't know if you've ever been to Howard, bro. But like Howard sits in the middle.
I've never been there. I still haven't experienced homecoming either. I'm too old now. But
you're never too old for a Howard homecoming experience,
bro. Never too old. I'm going every year live, bro.
When is it?
It's normally like the end of October, like the middle of the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, not this past year because of COVID, but I've been up there ever since I've been living because wifey, both her parents are Howard grads. They sit on different boards, and her dad lives in North Carolina. And every year, because of his health has taken a turn, every year he was healthy to come, he was there. Every year, every year he was there. They had stuff. Howard has things for
every age group.
Every age group.
Every age group.
All right, so I'm gonna be in the 35 plus group this year.
You coming with me? Yeah, you coming with me, bro?
Yeah, I'm at the big kids table.
But it was love though, man. It was definitely, college was definitely an experience that you can't get that back, man. It was definitely one. It was great memories, man. Great memories.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I want to add, like, I know you kind of touched on it, but from Florida, you said Florida State. Like, so how did Maryland become that place for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Mike Loxley.
Okay.
Mike Loxley, who's the now head coach of Maryland football right now. He came in early. He was the first guy in the first team school to offer me a scholarship. And he stayed connected, AB. He didn't try to sell me on something, bro.
Yeah.
Like everybody else during that process, they try to sell you on this, try to sell you on that. He wanted to get to know me, but not only me, he wanted to know my grandparents who I was living with and the people that was my support system. He got in good with them, and it made me feel like if I were to leave Florida and go someplace else, I would be in good hands, regardless of where the school was. You know what I mean? If Locks would have been at whomever, wherever school, there was a good chance I probably would have been there. But for me, it was once I got over the hype of just the football side, like, wait a minute, I'm going to be there for 4 years, earn a degree. I'll probably meet my wife there. probably good chance I might live in that city. Then I started thinking about what's best for me. And a lot of my family, they really didn't like it, because one, they couldn't afford to come see me play, which I get now. And two, growing up in this small town where everyone was either Florida State fan, I felt the pressure of because they never offered me that I underachieve in their eyes, that I let them down. You know what I mean? Which was tough. But Loxley, again, man, he stepped in from day one. At the time, E.J. Henderson, who was a Buckus Award winner at linebacker, same position I was playing, he was here. So I had a year to play underneath him. And then in my mind, I could be a starter if everything worked out my sophomore year. So, and they were coming off of the Orange Bowl where they got smashed by Florida, and they had won 10 games, and Maryland was I feel like in my mind, starting to make that next transition to being a basketball school, but the football school could play a little bit too. So it all worked out. And, when I got here on my visit, I met, Foxworth and Denard, all these guys that were, they treated me like I was a little brother. Yeah. And it made me feel like, man, if you come here, they say they need you. If they need you, then you know what? Come on, we take care of you. And it was just something about the whole area, man. They gave me facts about the area. And again, I can't say this enough, but the amount of at the time, and I don't know what the numbers are now, but PG County was at one point where the most affluent Black families were living in the entire country. Yeah. So, once you see all of that and you see the way people, just kind of communicated, it felt like a brotherhood. To me, it was easy.
Is that where Bowie is?
What's that?
PG County? Is Bowie in PG County? Where's Bowie?
Is Bowie considered PG County? I don't know. It's PG Montgomery. It's somewhere up there.
I remember that was life changing because one of my OGs in the league was Lee Biden.
Yeah.
And, still holler at Lee to this day. And I think that's where he stayed at the time was Bowie. Mm-hmm. And like I'm seeing for the first time in my life, that was like the first time I seen like a wealthy black neighborhood. Like everybody in the neighborhood was black, big ass houses on the like big yards. I'm like, yo, this shit dope. Like, I might have to move out here. And I never could see myself leaving Florida, but just seeing that, like I was like, wow, like that was beyond like football. Like, I was like, this is
but
like
for
having your neighbor be a doctor and a dentist and a surgeon. I'm like,
and I be trying to tell the people now, like you have to help these youngins see and vision what's possible for them. You know what I'm saying? Word. So a lot of folks that come out our community, man, all they see is what's in their box. You know what I mean? Right. So they don't know what's available out there to them. So to be able to go to Howard and then, I'm coming from Newport News, Virginia, and then somebody say like, oh, my mom and dad is a doctor, a lawyer. They houses it's a 9,000 square foot house or whatever. I'm like, for real, like people living like that, like you know what I'm saying.
So what happened to me, man, it was like, and once I got to Maryland, I couldn't afford to fly back home for like Thanksgiving and holidays or what have you if we had time off. I would go to a buddy's house that had both parents. They got a nice house and they cook well. And it was like, man, like I just love everything about this city, this environment, man. It's infectious. And to your point, D-Boy, it was like, I realized if I would have stayed in Florida, things would have worked out. I'm not saying that, but I'm so glad that I made that decision to come here. And Mike Loxley had a lot to do with it. Just the way he recruited me. And we're still good friends to this day. He's from the area, now head coach at Maryland. And, it's been, I could say the decision, that was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make because it kind of, springboards the rest of your life. And even before I bought a place here in 2012, I was going from, in the off season, I was training at every different place, right? I didn't own a house other than in the city where I was playing in Cleveland at the time. But, decided to pull that trigger, buy a place here, and the rest has been history, man. Met my wife here. Like I said, her family legacy is great, and it's all Howard, stimulated and what have you. And it's been a blessing, man. I honestly say I have a great support system, and the people that I've befriended here has just been great for me.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Like Fred Taylor always say, another one of my OGs on the I Am Athlete podcast, he always say, exposure leads to expansion.
Yeah.
Like basically, you got to see it to be able to see, all right, I can achieve this. I could be up in here. But that's dope, man. That's dope. So going from Maryland, so your career, so you were a 3-year starter at Maryland then?
Yeah.
So you stepped behind EJ for 1 year, so 3-year starter. So going into that draft, going into your last year, matter of fact, how was that going into your last year at college and then going into that draft process? How did that work out for you?
Nerve-wracking, man, because you didn't have the social media. You didn't have, you filed that petition to the NFL, you get your results back. And, it was nerve-wracking, man. Like, everything I did was like, I wasn't the same. I wasn't the same player, man. But once leading up to the season, but you put all this pressure on yourself. I was one of 2 people in my family to go to college. That was, one thing I had to deal with. And then, people are telling me, people are watching the game saying like, man, you're gonna make a lot of money. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. But they don't know. It's like, I gotta stay healthy. I can't get hurt. I can't lose this stock where I am, my status in the draft. So it was nerve-wracking, man. And for me, I was coming off of I broke my wrist my junior year before, probably either right as the season started, power cleaning, but I didn't. I elected not to get surgery, so I just had to wrap it up and like some old barbaric type shit, man. It was, we all done it. Played the whole season, was fine. Then I got it fixed after the season because in my mind I was planning on. Before my junior year, I was planning on leaving. If I had a good year after my junior year, I'm like, listen, I don't care if they tell me the first 4 rounds, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I was trying to provide for my family, and it didn't happen that way. So senior year comes around, and now all the pressure's on. It was rough, man, but I got through it. I got through it. I spent a lot of late night phone calls with him and other people just trying to deal. And it was in a space that they had no idea. They had never gone through that type of pressure and stress. I mean, for me, it was pressure and stress, you know, but, got through it, ended up, you know, I wasn't the fast guy. So I get to the combine, I run a 4.7, you know, that was the fastest I could ever run, you know, and I knew.
So you was happy with that?
Absolutely. And that was electronic. Absolutely. That was electronic. So hand time, I know somebody clocked me at a 4.6.
Yeah. So did you run again at your pro day? Or you like, nah, I'm
Nope. I was my agent. I said, listen, I'm gonna work my tail off. I'm gonna run at the combine. If I break 4.7, anything, I'm not running at my pro day. I'm gonna take a little quick trip and I'm gonna come back. And all I did was drills at the pro day. Man. I was like,
smart move.
It was too stressful because I knew my film told a story. Like I played faster than this straight line 40-yard sprint. So end up getting drafted, 34th overall to Cleveland. And you know what's funny?
Okay, so that's down in the first round.
Yeah.
So after the season, right? I had trips lined up to go to. I went to Tennessee. I went to where did I go? Tennessee, Cleveland. I think just Tennessee and Cleveland. And so they give you this like, I have a great trip. They give you these like to-go bags with like T-shirts and hats and all that. So I would give it to the family. So what's funny is I get to Cleveland, and at the time I'm looking at the draft order. Cleveland, I'm thinking I'm going anywhere from late first to early second. Cleveland got a late second round pick, mid. So I'm like, me being me, not knowing, I'm like, I ain't going here. So I'm leaving the airport. I got this big leather duffel bag with the nice, Cleveland Browns helmet on it. They gave me a ton of stuff. I'm at the airport, getting ready to leave to come back to Florida. I'm like, man, they not gonna draft me. I throw the shit away at the airport. Dude, like what? Like what type of what was I on, bro? Like
my dad to this day still be wearing random St. Louis Rams gear. Man,
why would I ever do that? And lo and behold, they move up, they draft me. And it's no secret, Cleveland ain't won. They just, start winning as of late. But bro, those 8 years were rough. Those 8 years felt like 11. You know what I mean? Because all the stress, just playing on the defense and, not having the offense and playing double the amount of snaps.
Y'all had some years when y'all had some good defenses too.
And I was gonna ask you about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think it was? You know what I mean? Because I remember playing you guys, and had some talent over there. But what do you think it would have took for y'all to get over that hump?
Yeah, no continuity, man. It was like a carousel of coaches and front office and different mindset. Anytime we all know it. Anytime you bring in a new head coach or a new GM, they want to get rid of. They feel like anyone that's currently there, unless you're a stud player, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. So I'm gonna get rid of you and try to find the ABs and the D butts to come in and replace you. So with that, it was just always a constant turnover because we had the players. I agree, we had some great players. Yeah. Everyone thought they could reinvent the wheel, man. It was a repeat cycle after cycle after cycle. And quite frankly, when I got older and realized, like, wait a minute, are we in the business of like winning, or we're in the business of like stockpiling draft picks? Because if you've ever been to a Cleveland Brown game, whether it was this past year or 10 years before that, the stadium was always packed. Always sold out. They may boo you after the second half when the game is no longer in reach, but Cleveland fans are diehard fans. So if I'm an owner, if I put my business hat on, hell, I don't have to go out here and overindulge in free agency because I'm hitting my quota. I'm not paying a $1 million quarterback. I'm selling out for 8 games a year. I'm making my concession money. I mean, that's the way I started to look at it. And that's when I had the opportunity to leave. It was a mutual. I knew they were going to release me. I had a big bonus coming up, and they did right by me by giving me a call, and we talked it out. And it is what it is. But I mean, I had some. I still know a lot of people in Cleveland. Listen, I grew up from. I was a young man grew into a young man with no experience to a guy that's been through a lot. I tore both my pecs there. I signed a 4-year deal coming out of college, and in my third year, going into my third year, the GM at the time, Phil Savage, he stopped me in the hallway, bro, and was like, "Listen, if I'm here next year, you will have another deal. We will sign you to an extension."
Going into your third year,
yeah.
You hit as a young man, the GM is telling me this in the hallway. We're crossing paths. I'm like, "Oh, bet this is gonna work." Tear my pec. Next year comes around, new coach comes in. I'm thinking they're gonna, I don't know, I'm learning the business now. I know what promised to you in the former regime doesn't mean a damn thing when the new regime comes.
Yeah.
I had to learn the hard way, man. Then I ended up getting hurt again, tearing the other pec. So now we coming up on a lockout year. And I'm supposed to be I was spending money that I didn't have, spending money like I was going to sign this other deal. Other things in my life were falling apart. Like I felt like this can't be happening to me, bro. This cannot be happening to me. I was in my mind, I had hit rock bottom, man. I didn't know whether or not I was ever going to play again. And D-Butt, you saw a different version of me in Indy. I was a whole different professional, taking care of your body, eating right, sleeping right, all that. But before I got injured, man, I was out here like most guys in the NFL that we know about in the off season. You go travel, you do whatever, and you look at your clock. Damn, I got 2 weeks before training, or before we got to head back. I'm gonna start working out. That was me. That wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't the strongest, fastest, tallest, that. So I felt like that contributed to me getting injured. So I made a deal with myself, man. I flew out to IMG. I stayed out there. Bought a condo out there. I talked to a therapist there, and they basically reprogrammed me. And they're like, now, okay, hell, if this is what you want, then why are you doing X? They made it make sense for me, man. And you know what? Listen, it was the best thing that probably happened to me, man, because it completely changed my career. So I was sleeping in hyperbaric chambers, watching film.
Yeah, I was about to say. I remember when you came to Indy, you was on all that. You was on your LeBron shit early.
No, I was on it, bro. What put me on to that was I remember the year T.O. was with Philly. He had broke his tibia.
His tibia, yeah.
And he got back to I think that's the year they made the
Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he balled out. And then I remember reading quotes about him after the season. He was like, "Yeah, I contributed a lot of my recovery to this hyperbaric chamber." And me, I'm at the time, I'm injured. I'm like, I was on my computer, like hyperbaric chamber. What the man? And then I realized how much it costs, and I had to make a decision. I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta do it, bro. It's either all or nothing. And it worked out, bro. Like, woo, that shit gives me chills even thinking about it.
I got anybody who I know use that swear by that thing. Tay swear by it. He's still sleeping that thing to this day.
I would say two people. I think Anthony Gonzalez, he came from Ohio State, and he had folks come into his bedroom and do something in his bedroom so he didn't have to sleep in the chamber. And then when Tay came, so I never really got into it, but like D-Butt said, I know everybody that had one and spoke highly of it.
Like, you won't get into it unless you need it, right? Like, I was injured, bro. I was so desperate. I was like, I will do whatever I can to get back to this league, making money. Yeah. I can hit it big and strike gold. And I was like, I'm doing whatever. D-Butt tell you, man, listen, I'm the type of dude. If you think it worked, I'll try it. I might borderline. It might be borderline illegal, but if they don't know, you know what I mean? I was like, any means necessary. So, and I'll be honest with you, I'm the type. Listen, if it's gonna make me X amount of dollars, and if I fail a drug test once, then it was worth it. It was worth it.
To keep it a buck, though. That's how a lot of people think.
Well, it's only 4 games. You know what I'm saying?
That's how.
Listen, we put our bodies to a blender every day to do this. Yeah. Not only for the game, but the practices. You know, and when we was playing early on, we didn't have these rules where you couldn't hit, you couldn't wear full pads. You was out there banging. So I had to adapt. I had to adapt, man.
Especially when you get into them older years, you're like, all right, you're gonna try to turn over every stone, to survive and keep playing at that level. It was certain things that I wouldn't try, but I knew, and that kind of opened my eyes to a whole new thing in the league, like because I didn't know. All I knew was, get it out the mud, work, do this, do that, and then when you get into, obviously, it's a big boy business, billions of dollars a year. So I'm seeing people, flying in doctors and their own chiropractors and their own this and that, and getting IVs and all type of shit. So I'm like, okay, this is what the real big leagues is. And I had to start investing and doing different things and get like on that regimen. So, but if you start that type of stuff younger, you can definitely prolong your career at a high level. And I ain't gonna tell you to do nothing illegal like DQ.
Nah, don't do that.
No. But I mean, you gotta weigh your risk and reward, man.
Yeah,
you got to do your homework for sure.
They definitely on the fast track now, though, as far as like collegiate athletes, high school athletes, what they have available to them versus what we had. You know what I mean? Like you said, like IVs and massages. Like I didn't get my first massage, so I was in the probably my second year in the league. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
dry needling,
yeah, like IV. I'm like, I'm not just about to put a needle, like, man, nah, but just like you said, having that knowledge and not knowing. So that's
one thing that I wish I would have, because I was so into it. Because in Cleveland, you got to remember, I played with Jamal Lewis at one point, and if you know anything about Jamal, like he was like a doctor. He had his PhD in all of this like recovery type of methods and what have you. So when I was young, I would always hang out with the older guys, and I would sit in the house and they got a doctor, they're doing IVs, they're doing this, they're doing that. And over time, I didn't see them. I wanted to hang out with them. Over time, those guys started to slowly either retire or no longer be in the league. And I kept those relationships open with those nurses. So, you ask guys that play with me in Cleveland, they would come over my house on Friday because I had the chiropractor, I had the masseuse, I had the stretch lady, I had the IV lady. And it was all legal. And I'm not condoning doing anything illegal. It was all legal. And it was all to help you recover. Yeah. And I got into it, man. And it just kind of stuck with me. And so those are the type of things from an investment standpoint. Like if it comes to do with, like, I'm all into those type of things, man. Because it's something I love doing.
Yeah, it is. Take care of your body. Take care of your body. Your body going to take care of you, baby.
That's a fact. I had an old head tell me, in New England, he was like, all right, because I was about to play T.O. And this is when T.O. was in Cincy. So this was an older T.O.
Right.
And he was like, had been in the league for 13, 14 years. He said, all right, still out there. You out there on Gatorade. T.O. out there on jet fuel. It's a different ball game out here, D-Butt. And my first real exposure to it, now that I think about it, my second year, I hurt my hamstring. And Brady right hand man, the dude Alex, little Spanish. I think it's Alex Guerrero. Yeah, man, I'm in a meeting, and this dude used to have his own office in New England. He came knocking the door, boom, took me out of the meeting. I was supposed to miss the game. This was probably like a Thursday or something. Man, this dude did some shit. I was out there Sunday running like nothing. I'm like, yo, like your body. If you pull a muscle, you pull something like, this probably gonna be like 2 weeks. And bro, 2 days. I'm like, oh yeah. So now looking back at it, now I can see how he's still playing at a high level at 43, still winning Super Bowls. It's bigger than work. You got to work.
Yeah. Smart. Built for it, man. Some dudes. I know a dude played. My buddy Eric Barton. He played 12, 13 years. I don't know if I ever seen him get a massage. I'm like, he was never injured.
That's true. You definitely got people like that too.
Guys are just freaks. And then guys like myself, like if I didn't take care of my body that way, I wouldn't have lasted, bro. I can almost promise you that I would not have lasted. But the rules are different now. The rules are set up for, they're taking the aggression away.
Taking a lot of violence out of it.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of violence out of the game with the quarterbacks. Like, how are you going to try to strip most guys, if you can sack the quarterback, you're taking what they do best away from them by not being able to land on the quarterback. Are we playing football? Like, well, I don't get
it. Or even being able to hit receivers and tight ends and people crossing the field. Like I remember back when I first came in the league, like crossing routes.
Man, what?
I got a cat like DQ in there. Hey, lurk this crosser. Hey, you wasn't even trying to. You just trying to touch him up. Wow. With or without the ball. You can't do none of that no more.
You had a different respect for the receivers who going across the middle back then. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because it was only going to be a handful that would be willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Some had to do it, but some was like really like, yo, I'll take that rep. But now everybody is running around like, man.
Yeah, bro. I remember, man. I was in a conference with Hines Ward. Was at his finest of crackbacking everybody, bro.
Yeah,
I've seen this man. You know how, like, if you have a defensive call and you got to check amongst this call.
Yeah, Hines,
saying we had this call called play it. Hey, we're not going to check, play it, right? So the play happens. Hines Ward cracks one of our DBs. The man was stiff on the ground doing the play it call, bro. Like he was just, Hines Ward used to pick him apart, bro. He used to pick him apart. So that was how I learned how to play the game because they used to always crush us. I'm like, man, now we gotta play physical. Even our receivers.
That AFC North was different.
Yeah. So when you take that away, it was like I knew my time was limited, bro. Because like I can't run with these running backs. You know what I mean? So I had to adapt, bro. Hey, D-Buck, you got me over the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I can't run with
we did a lot of communicating out there. That was a must.
I will apologize, bro, at Indy because y'all had to cover for me a lot, bro. Oh my God.
You do your thing.
Hey, listen, I can be honest, bro. Cover 4 when they tell me lock the tight end. Hey. Shit. That's real, man.
Put some hands on him. Hey, put some hands on him or something. Tell the DN or something.
I would panic once I start trailing. I'm panicking, bro, because I don't live in that world.
Yeah,
that's when you gotta adjust, man. You gotta lock that. Hey, Tay, you lock back there. We got 3 vert on this. You gotta adjust, man.
No question.
But going back to that though, so 2014, that was our best year as a defense, as a team. I think we had went a streak with like a crazy third down percentage. We was holding teams. We went like 4 for like 49 or something on the stretch, and got all the way to the championship game. The infamous what was it called? Deflategate. You started that too. You started that with the interception. So how did that whole thing turn into that? Did you get the ball and was it you? Like, was it the equipment guy? Who started Deflategate?
Well, it wasn't me. I can tell you that because I remember, we have film study and we knew in the red zone if Gronk was going to motion, he's getting the ball, he's streaking up the field. On that little fringe area. And so when the play started, I knew I'm like, oh, it's cover 4. I'm gonna have to. This is gonna be me. And if my back is turned to Brady, he's throwing it. So play develop. Gronk takes off. I line up with him. I get close enough so I can turn around. And I was lucky enough for me. It was a poorly thrown ball because when I turned around, the ball hit me in my hip as opposed to high and over the top.
Yeah.
So I get the ball. I'm excited. I'm like, I picked off Gronk or picked off Brady. AFC Championship game. We going to the Super Bowl. In the hell no. I shoot the ball, the equipment staff, right? And that's it, right? So we play the game, lose. And so that night, because it was a late game, I set up a driver to pick me up at the airport in Indy. In my mind, I'm thinking we're going to win. We're going to have some fun.
Go out, we get back.
Yeah, you're a fool, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing.
Cause we had beat Peyton the week before in Denver.
In Denver, and that was a ride. That was one of my best moments, bro. So, so after we get back from the game in Indy, the driver who I use all year long, I guess they was talking about it on the radio or something. It had already started, like the whispers had already started. So he's asking me, I'm mad because we lost and all that. I don't really want to talk, and it's late. He was like, hey, so did you know? I was like, did I know we was gonna get our ass whipped? Like, what you talking about? Talking about? Like, did you know the ball was deflated? I'm like, the ball? Like, what? I had no idea what he was talking about, bro. And then he, turned up the radio. He started reading articles. It was already out. I'm like, nah, I don't know nothing about this. And they kept tagging my name. I went to Frog and them guys like, hey, the ball is underinflated. Check the ball. Even though I got to worry about Tom Brady and Gronk and everybody else on the other side of the field.
That's the last thing you think about
going on with football.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's funny when I get so that year, I was able to make the Pro Bowl, and at the Pro Bowl, Harbaugh stopped me, head coach at Baltimore. Apparently, we had a real quick conversation. Apparently, they were complaining about it the week before because the week before, and I guess it was something that this wasn't new to anybody but me, apparently. And
I hadn't known about it either.
I didn't know about it either.
Yeah, maybe it was in their world. It's like, we've been trying to deal with this, or blah, blah, blah. And I guess I looked at it as people trying to knock the kings off the throne type of stuff. Like, it didn't have any validation.
That air pressure ain't have nothing to do with that ass whooping. I hate to say it, but
what was the final score of that game?
45.
A lot to a little.
Yeah. No, this one I knew the game was over. Not hindsight.
It was a game going into probably going into the half. Honestly,
3 and out.
Yeah.
3 and out. This is I know you know what I'm about to say. So
that turned the tide.
Pick up Josh Cribbs, who is the best returner,
one of the all-time greats.
Yes, he getting ready to field a punt. It goes off his head, AB, and they recover it. And we giving the ball back to their offense.
First 3 and out on the road.
We geeked on the sideline. We got him. Da 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 da. When that mess happened, bro, when Josh walked off. Man, I wish there was a camera to see my eye, bro. I was looking through his soul.
That was
your former teammate too, right?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time
oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, that hurt.
It hurt, bro. That. And it's funny that whole Deflategate, man. I think that year or a year after, one of my agents, he's around like our age, and he was getting married in Boston because his wife was from there. And so he invited me to the wedding. And he was like, listen, I'm not telling anybody who you are. Just I want to keep it that way, just low profile. I'm like, all right, cool. I ain't think nothing of it. Like, I was like, okay, you don't want people knowing you got a football player. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna have a good time, eat, drink, and listen to music, whatever. So I get there, and his wife's uncles are like, they getting drunk and they start getting sloppy. And it was like, hey man, what's your name? I didn't even say anything. He was like, "Oh, your last name is Jackson, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm Jackson." He was like, "You're the motherfucker that told me." Bro, they started coming at me, bro. Like, what's going on? I'm like, nah, it happened like that. Like, they didn't want to hear that. They was drunk. Like, I had to leave, bro, because then it started getting around and. Like, people in Boston take that shit seriously, bro.
They don't play, boy.
I had to leave, man. It was like, okay, this is serious, and the Colts ain't doing nothing to say, hey, it wasn't him. They just gonna let me take all the shots. But it's fun to talk about now, man, because I ended up doing a video for Uninterrupted.
Tom Brady?
Dear Tom Brady. They let me have fun with that, so that was cool, man. But yeah, it's something that's going. I still don't have that ball. I don't know where it is.
Somebody. Matter of fact, somebody
got that. Somebody got that.
John J. Jonathan, the quarter. Did you ever receive the ball you intercepted? That's crazy. So that's where is that? The Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I wanna have that ball part of my collection.
Somebody got that.
Yeah, we definitely got to find that because that still count. That's a playoff interception off Tommy Boy.
First playoff. Experience ever.
I'm putting that out there, man. They need to start adding them on playoff picks, man, to career picks, man.
Yeah, they're all your stats. Like, why not? I mean,
why not?
You still playing touchdowns, rushing, whatever. They need to add all of that, man. So that's a weird little rule or whatever. Because I know, like Reggie, he holds some records. Reggie Wayne, he holds some records. You know what I'm saying?
Playoff jumps.
And he's been overlooked for this Hall of Fame. They need to get that right, man. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, man, that was a fun year, man. That really was. That was a fun year. It's funny leaving Cleveland and walking into the Colts facility, just the locker room, game day locker room, and seeing all the plaques and the conference titles and championships and all that. At the time, Cleveland didn't have any of that. They had all the old time greats, and all of them. But like walking into a Colts facility, in my eyes, was like, man, you got to win here. Like everything tells you got to win at this place.
I was San Fran hating like shit.
What's that?
Said it's out San Fran hating.
I was in San Fran hating like shit. Like, God, man.
Yeah, it's good. I remember we played Boston. I mean, not Boston. We played Cleveland that year. We were losing to Cleveland, and I just remember. I remember you, and it was somebody else who had been in Cleveland. Mike, matter of fact, Pop. Yeah, he was like, "Don't trip. They gonna fuck it up. They gonna fuck it up. We gonna win the whole game. We was there the whole game. I'm like, hey, we good. Trust me.
Right.
Lord behold, as the game went on,
it up.
I picked it off, but
that's what happened. Mike got a pick to seal the game. Matter of fact,
big pick, big in the church.
They're gonna trick it off. They don't know how to win, man, but they're doing good now, man. They got a nice little setup. Andrew Berry doing a good job over there.
Great job.
The ownership. I don't know if you know the ownership. The Haslam, they were like minority owners with the Steelers for many years, so they know how to win. They've been around it. It was just a matter of time of getting the right people in there. Baker Mayfield, whether or not I think he's the long-term answer or not, he's the answer right now.
I mean, it's been. We know that Browns jersey that we always see every year when they cross out and put another quarterback on there. Yeah. If you Andrew Berry, you lock Baker Mayfield, especially with everything that's going on with this quarterback carousel. Do you lock Baker up for the long term? You see him as a future?
I would. So the short answer to that is yes. But if I'm in Andrew Berry's position right now, with the possibility of Deshaun Watson being available and all these, you have to at least have a conversation about it. Even whether we think he could be a good fit or not, you got to have a conversation about it, because my opinion about Baker, he made enough of a jump this past year, and Steven Stefanski figuring out what he does best. I think the rollouts, putting him on the move, having a steady dose of that running game helps him see the field and open it up. But you can if I'm Andrew, you make a friendly contract deal where it's not long term. It's short term. You give him some money. You don't break the bank, but you at least position yourself so you keep that culture intact. Because if you were to move him right now, you would need a Deshaun Watson. You would need someone that is a surefire hit to run that football team. If not, you lock him in short term, see how it works out. Similar to the Jared Goff situation, they signed to a short term deal, team friendly deal. They moved him when they felt like things weren't moving in the right direction. So I do think they have a good formula. I do think, even though it's not how we see the rest of the league playing football, but we all know we play the game. You cannot, when you can run the football and play good defense.
Yeah, you got a chance.
You got a chance.
All the time.
Yeah, you look at Pittsburgh. They started 11-0, throwing the ball like crazy. Then when it came to crunching time, they had no other answer. They couldn't run the football, and they got manhandled by the Browns in the postseason, where that was something that was new to me. I had never seen that before, ever. Yeah. So, they got something good going. They got a lot of young players, and I'm sure they got a lot of draft capital, which they always have. And if I'm in, you got to entertain this Deshaun. Well, I know everyone's talking about Deshaun and Miami and Chicago. I think it's good looks, but if I'm Deshaun, Chicago isn't necessarily my top pick, because if they don't figure out the quarterback position, there's a good chance those guys could be fired the next year. So, you got to go to a place that has some sort of stability. But, if I'm Andrew, you got to have a conversation about Deshaun, but I don't think he's going to make a drastic move like that when you finally reach the playoffs. And not only that, you won a playoff game And not only that, you have been in like over a decade to the playoffs. So I don't think he wants to shake that up too much.
Especially like you said, they don't have a loyal fan base. So
oh yeah.
I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna ask you one question. You're gonna get one question from one of the man-to-man OGs, Van Albright.
Okay.
Uncle DeQuell, what's the hardest hit you laid on someone?
Man, you know what?
Who was it?
Man, you know, anytime I played Chris, what's his name? Chris played Tennessee running back. Chris Johnson. Bro, I don't know why, but I used to play mad against him, bro. And I used to try to do some dirty shit too, man. Like try to rip his helmet off and just unnecessary stuff, man. And we always had battles for whatever reason. But yeah, he was probably. I know I got him pretty good. Every time we used to play, I used to make sure he knew who hit him. And I used to, I used to do little. I was wild and crazy when I was younger, man. So yeah, it'd probably be Derek. There.
Was it anybody?
Chris Johnson.
Yeah. Was it anybody who got you early on? Did you have that welcome to the league motion?
I already know that.
Absolutely.
Back then, playing the position he was playing.
His name is Alan Faneca, bro. Alan Faneca.
He just went to the Hall, right?
Just went to the Hall, and I never forget it, bro. It was we were in the red zone. I got my number called, the blitz up the like A or B gap or the A gap, and it's like third down. I was like, oh, okay, I finally get my shot to show what I can do, blitzing. And now that I know, well, I didn't know at the time. So basically, Alan, you help the tackle, right? You block out and help the tackle because you have no one threatening. He blocked the tackle, and I see the hole just open up like the Red Sea. Now I'm looking at if I could touch my fingers, I'm looking at my lips trying to get through. I'm like, this shit is opening up. I'm about to save the day. And lo and behold, he peeled back. Bow. Bro, I lifted. They had to come get me. They scored. Chad Johnson scored, but I'll never forget going back and watching that. And the coach was like, yeah, I told your ass. Like, these linemen, they're smart. They don't just do things just to do it. Especially this guy, Alan Faneca.
For a reason.
And that's when I started thinking about the league a lot differently. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta manipulate these guys, show them do something else. Yeah. So, and that was my welcome to the NFL moment, bro. It crushed me. It crushed me. They never called my number that rest of the year. Doing that, bro. Yeah.
Hey, but that's real though, because I had that happen. I've had that happen to me too, man. Like, hole open up, you think you running free the whole time. All they doing is helping, but they eyes is on you.
Right.
Yep.
And your peripheral game is you zeroed in on the quarterback.
You see that quarterback?
Yeah.
Yep, they had to come get me. Come get him.
Yeah, them times where you sitting at lunch and you sit down with the old lineman or the quarterback and be like, just start asking them questions like, man, look, what you looking at? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't survive if this is how my life gonna be in this league.
Not at all.
Big facts, man. Hey, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you joining the show. Definitely gonna have you back, man. But this was fun, man. Always good catching up with old teammates. Obviously we stay in touch. Appreciate you, man, and good luck with everything you got going on, family, everything, man.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta get your number too, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all about to be jealous, and I'm about to hit this Peloton and take some laps in this pool, man.
Man, I just got off.
See, y'all got to link up on the Peloton, man. That's all AP talking about.
I just got off that Peloton before I got on here.
For what we did, all the pounding, bro, you can do it every day. You won't feel like the stress in your hips and your joints. Like I like that joint, bro. I love that joint.
I'm trying to get D-Butt to get on there, man.
I'm gonna get on.
I gotta get your name, bro, so we can follow each other.
Yep. I'm gonna send it to you.
Once Peloton cut this check to the man-to-man part, I get one.
Hey, yeah.
With y'all Peloton, we done gave y'all 3 free commercials now. Peloton, stop playing.
Real shit.
Very true.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, appreciate you,
okay, bro. All right, y'all.
Boom, boom. There you have it. Another episode of Man to Man Pod. Great interview. Big bro DeQuell, man. AB. Man, appreciate y'all. We'll be back. What's today? Thursday. We'll be back next week.
Next week,
y'all
man.
on Monday, man. That's gonna be the new schedule going forward. Monday and Thursday. We'll be live when we can be, and we'll pre-record some stuff as well. But I appreciate y'all.
As always, man. Y'all have a good one.
Go.